Boom, let's get into it, guys. Let's look at the different power levels of Anakin Skywalker. We take a look at Anakin in episode 2 as a Padawan learner against Count Dooku. You can see how good Anakin is because he's currently going toe-to-toe with Count Dooku, who's the Form 2 master of Makashi. Count Dooku is one of the most skillful Jedis when he used to be in the Jedi Order, and now obviously a Sith Lord, and his technique in lightsaber combat is probably second to none, and the fact that Anakin's going toe-to-toe with him, as you can see, lasting much longer than Obi-Wan Kenobi, shows how skillful he is. The question arises, where do we rate Anakin Skywalker in terms of an apprentice, a Padawan, amongst the other apprentices and Padawans that we've seen on the big screen in the Clone Wars? Now, I've put Anakin just behind Obi-Wan, and the reason I've done that is because often Anakin's anger and inexperience will get the better of him. He would let his emotions take control, whereas I think someone like, say, Obi-Wan Kenobi, when he witnessed his own master get killed before him, he channeled his anger, he didn't let it overcome him, he kept disciplined, and you can see here against Maul just how good he was. Now, this might seem a bit controversial, but I've put Maul ahead of Obi-Wan and Anakin when they were Padawan's apprentices, and the reason I've done that is because Maul went toe-to-toe with both Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's a difficult task to do. I know he had a double-bladed lightsaber, but you're going against a Jedi Master and Obi-Wan Kenobi, so on that basis, the way Maul handled himself in the fight, I'm just putting Maul slightly ahead of everyone else. I know his own arrogance cost him the duel in the end, but, throughout the duel, he was very much on top of them at certain points. But you let me know, who do you think amongst the apprentices was better than the other? Do you agree with my rankings, or do you think, Anakin was better than all of them? Right, guys, moving on to Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Knight. Now, I rate Anakin Skywalker very highly here. His power level has literally gone through the roof compared to when he was a Padawan. The way in which Anakin is able to increase the pace and power in this duel is ferocious. Even though Dooku is quite older now, the way in which Anakin is absolutely able to dismantle him shows how far he's ascended. Now, I've rated Ahsoka quite highly. I've just put her ahead of Darth Maul Mandalore, when he was the ruler of Mandalore. And the reason I've done that is because Ahsoka in Twilight of the Apprentice, she's come a long way, both in terms of the Force and his skill level. And I think when we see her fight Vader in Twilight of the Apprentice, you can just see how skillful Ahsoka has become. The way in which Ahsoka is able to parry Vader's strikes and then go from there to a counterattack is really impressive, and this is why I rate Ahsoka quite highly and ahead of Darth Maul. Right, now this brings us to Darth Vader. Now, Vader in his purest form in terms of using the Force was an absolute brute. He was a machine. Well, literally he was a machine, but in terms of his Force use, it was devastating. You see the way he rips this ship down and just rips the door open. You can see just how ferocious he is. Now, you could argue that he's not as strong as, say, Anakin Skywalker Jedi Knight because, of his robotics. He's not the same nimble Jedi Knight that he used to be, but he doesn't need to be. He's that good in the Force, and I think we saw that in the fight with Reva. You see, Reva's got a lightsaber, and Vader doesn't even have one, but he's literally able to dismantle her. And even when he does have a lightsaber, he's simply just toying with her. There is absolutely no match in terms of skills with a lightsaber between Vader and Reva. Now, you could argue if Anakin had a lightsaber and it was Anakin against Vader, there may be a matchup there to be had, but I think Vader's, sheer knowledge of the Force at this point just makes him the ultimate weapon. That's why I've rated Vader the highest, even higher than Anakin Skywalker Jedi Knight. And I know some of you are thinking they're the same person, but I mean in terms of character and where they've developed to and from. But that's why I've put Vader, way ahead of Anakin. Now, there is a weakness that Vader does have, and it is to Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's a mental block there, and I don't think you can deny it. When we've seen Vader face off against Obi-Wan, you can see that he's unsettled. He's not the same Vader that we see as destructive as he, normally is. But against Obi-Wan, there's something mentally, whether it's Obi-Wan causing the conflict inside Vader, the good and the bad, and that's what's unsettling him. It's bringing out his inner Anakin Skywalker, and I think that's why, he has a weakness against Obi-Wan and he struggles against him. But what do you guys think? I know some people rate Anakin Jedi Knight ahead of Vader in terms of using a lightsaber and maybe the Force, but I just think Vader's ahead of him. Now, the final version of Anakin, if you'd like, is the Anakin that we come across in the World Between Worlds. Now, there is a question, is he a Mortis God or not? And I know that's open for debate, and I think Dave Filoni kind of left it to the viewers to interpret. Now, if this is the case, then Anakin's gone to a whole other stratosphere in terms of the Force, but we're probably not going to get any more clarity until we see future episodes. But what would be crazy is if they brought Anakin Skywalker back, a bit like what Ezra did to Ahsoka, how he pulled her out of that kind of timeline. I'm not going to get all timey-wimey into it and World Between Worlds, because we could be here forever, you know what I mean? But how cool would it be seeing Hayden Christensen return as Anakin Skywalker? He's always said that he's happy to return in the role whenever they ask. So yeah, hopefully in the future we get to see more of him. But let me know what you guys think in terms of this Anakin, in terms of where you would rate him in terms of power level. Can we even rate him? Because it's the world between worlds, so I think it kind of takes it out of the what would you like, it kind of grouping if you like. But let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments who you thought the best version of Anakin was. Was it Padawan, Jedi Knight, Vader? Let me know.